In this video, we're going to cover setting up an offset press. To get to the press standards setup screen, we'll go to our admin, print, and press standard. Once we're here, we can set up a new press by going to quick links, or we can click on an existing one to edit. For today's demonstration, we'll go ahead and click on to one of our demo presses, our 4-color Heidelberg. To set up an offset press, we will select offset as our press type. Material could be either sheet or roll. We'll give the press a press name. Now we can set a minimum cost here on this field. And what this will do is when your print calculator is calculating what the press cost is going to be, if it doesn't hit this threshold, it'll automatically bump up the press cost to that minimum cost. Default run type. So this drop down lets us default whatever run type we want to be automatically selected when the press is selected. Hourly rate. So when we determine how long the print run is going to be, this is how we're going to get to part of our press cost. So hourly rate could be anywhere from $20 an hour to $500, whatever makes sense in your business. We tend to want to encourage our customers to do a fully burdened rate here. So not just what it costs to have the lease on the machine and the guy standing in front of it, but as best you can incorporate overhead, insurance, anything that might add as a business cost to what you think it actually costs you to run that machine. Base run rate. So this is going to be your impressions per hour that you want to have as the starting point or the standard for the machine. You can also define a default spoilage amount, and this is in percentage. You could add what a press check would cost for this particular press. Per plate cost. So for our plate cost, we want to incorporate the cost of the actual plate and what it costs to make it. Typically we'll see this between $10 and $20 for a plate. Max plate impressions. So if you are a business that does runs long enough where you actually wear out plates, setting the max plate impressions will take into account extremely long runs and the need to burn extra plates and do extra make readies. Run rate factor is something that we'll normally keep on the normal setting, and this is more usable in the print calculator, but you can default it here in this screen if you want to. And we'll look at the admin for this particular option here in a few minutes. Run sheet width and length. This is actually a max run sheet width and length. So just the max size that'll fit on the machine. You can also default a size for registration marks and color bar. And what that'll do is that'll remove that dimension from the live area or the usable area on the sheet. You can define max colors for the press. Your gripper size. This will also impede on the usable area on the sheet if you want to take that into account. Now for offset presses, we have two different types of make readies. Our press make ready is a legacy option. Our color unit make ready is a more modern way of thinking about make ready costs. So for press make ready, what this is going to do is it's just going to take the hours and make ready sheets and the wash up hours and just add that one time to the job. It's not looking at how many colors it is or how many plates you have. It's literally just a very simple, this is how long we spend on make ready no matter what. This is really simple. It's really kind of rudimentary. It works for some customers, but I would say that more common way or more common setting to use is the color unit make ready. And how this will work is we have a base make ready sheet. So what will happen here is it'll say we want to use 100 sheets no matter what. And then for every color unit on this press, so if we have, let's say we have 4 colors on this job, it's going to take into account, say, a quarter of an hour and 10 sheets per color unit. And that'll be dynamic then, right? So it'll actually change as you change the specs of the job. So this is definitely the way to go to get the most accurate costing. One of the last pieces we want to look at here is the run rate table. So what we can do here is select how we want to look at what affects the run rate. So quantity of the job, net impressions, or run sheets. And by selecting run sheets, I could say that for once this hits 10,000 sheets, bump my run rate up to 9,500 an hour. When I hit 25,000 run sheets, bump my run rate up to 12,000 an hour, and so on and so forth. So we can actually create some economy of scale with the size of the job. One last piece I want to take a look at is this update all templates selection. So what this does is that if you wanted to make changes to this press and it was used on print templates that you have set up, what you can actually do is make those changes, click this button to update all templates, and it will actually change the press specs in all your templates based on the changes you made to this press. Now, before, when we were talking about run rate factor, I just wanted to point out that you can control the options in that dropdown by going under the print menu and clicking on run rate factor. And you can set up those options here by entering them in the bottom of the grid and clicking the save icon. Now, if we go back into press standards and we look at our 4-color Heidelberg again. Let's say this wasn't a 4-color Heidelberg and it was actually an offset roll or web press. If we selected web or roll, we can actually see that a couple options changed in here, and we can define cylinder circumference, max roll width, a default plate size, and there's a few different options for our run types. So just a few things change here. But just wanted to point that out, that you can set up either sheet or web offset presses, and they have specific settings for each.